Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Design Your Dream Home podcast. I am Bjorn, joined by my wife Brittany Johnson, and today's episode is titled and is all about how to dress your house. And what do we mean by that?
Yeah, so we're talking exterior design today because we are working on the outside of our house. So we thought we would share our project with you a little bit and use that to kind of illustrate some of the things that we talked about. So in the last podcast, we were just starting the painting process of our house. We claimed that it was going to take 2 weeks.
Oh, I forgot, did we?
Which we were pretty close. I mean, we would be done right now if we hadn't switched gears and started working on the deck, which we are on right now. First coat of primer, yeah. So the house is scraped, first coat of primer's on. This side of the house is actually finished. Part of the other side is finished. The rest needs to be done. Needs to have another coat of paint. But we're moving forward. It feels good. The deck was one of the next things. So we started that because ultimately we want to enjoy the deck. So here we are. But let's talk about how you get to where you want to be when thinking about exterior design. And I get asked these questions a lot. It's always like, what color should I paint my house? Okay, well that is actually not the first question. The first question is, you have to think about what type of house you want. I compare designing the outside of, any part of your house to your own style and fashion sense. And it's the same concept where I consider the house like your body. So, what style of house is it? And how do we dress it to be flattering for that style? Just like, what kind of body do you have and how do you dress to flatter your style? Because we all have different body types. We all have different houses.
Different things we want to accentuate.
Exactly. What do we want to be the star?
Because not everything can be the star. You'll hear Brittany say that over and over again, and it's great advice. Not everything can be the star.
Yes, that is one of my key design principles. And
the star, I'm the support.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it. No, that is what I tell people all the time. Not everything can be the star. So it's important to think about your exterior design and your house, the space that you live in, according to what your house already looks like if you're doing a remodel, or what you want it to look like if you're doing something new. But starting with
paint color.
I lost my train of thought. Here we go. I feel like it's been a long week, but it's okay. So we're talking about the houses and man.
We were talking about how to dress it. You can paint. Picking a paint color, it's not about the color first. Like, you don't start with what color is I think where you were headed.
Yes.
Like, what thoughts go into that? Because how do you accentuate a house?
Okay, so oh my gosh, my brain today, you guys. This is like, so you start with how you want to use the house, what you want to accentuate. Yes, okay, so we go back to the color, and like our house, let's take it for example, is a very square 1950s farmhouse. We could have accentuated the trim and the windows and everything just so that gave our house some style and direction. But ultimately, we are adding a deck, we are adding a pergola, we are adding some window boxes, and to me, those are going to be the stars. And so I'm not as worried about highlighting every feature on my house because I don't want to overwhelm the house either, because it is a small square farmhouse. And so we went with white everywhere, all white. And we went with Sherwin-Williams Pure White. There's a lot of great whites. How do you even begin to find your white or your house color? I like to first think about the color that we're going to do and then do a little Google search. I just typed in top 10 whites, white paint colors, and someone else has already done a lot of the work. Someone else has already categorized their favorite 5 to 10 whites. Okay, perfect. So now I pull those whites out and I look at which one is best for me. We went with pure white. It's just it's a little bit on the cool side, and it's a very true white, which is what I want, because then we are bringing in a lot of other things. And so to me, I know that I'm going to accessorize the heck out of this house. And so the base of the house can be more plain. Bjorn is very worried when I said I was going to do all white trim, all white. He's like,
seems super boring.
It's going to be so boring.
I wanted to do dark, and
yeah, we did think.
I'm very
okay,
happy
so then that was the other thought. We did think about black a little bit because that's very in. That's very trendy. I think it's really cool. But for us, functionally, we were thinking about, okay, black also absorbs way more sun. we have a very old house that is not properly insulated the way it should be.
Yeah,
we do our best.
The walls need to be re-insulated, but we can handle heating better than we can handle cooling.
Yes, and we have a very shady area, so black maybe would have worked, but it also will fade more, and just it takes a little bit more upkeep. You really have to do a good job with your primer, with your paint. I just felt more comfortable with white because, to be honest, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of materials and crew and everything. I just wanted to be like as efficient as possible, and so that's why we went with white.
There were a lot of hard areas that trimming a different color would have been really tough to do on our roof peaks,
yes,
dormer areas. A limited time. Again, the house was white before, so
yes,
like painting over it just made it super easy. So I was on board. As Brittany started explaining these things to me, it made a lot more sense why we didn't go dark unless
yes,
you wanted all white, and then that.
And we didn't have a lot of time either, like
yeah,
you were saying. And so to be able to paint the house and the trim at the same time was key, because we rented this big lift to be able to get to some of the points in our house, the peaks, the dormers, and
that would have been really dangerous and hard to get to otherwise.
Yeah, we'd have to come back now to do the trim. I don't want to do that for another day. I don't want to add that. That's another paint color to buy and select. It's just more waste because you're going to have gallons of this and gallons of that. And to me, it's more efficient, all one color, super easy. But I can get away with that because I am adding so much more to the house. We're adding the deck, we're adding the pergola, we're adding the window boxes, we're adding a lot of landscaping and that sort of thing.
You get to pick new exterior lights, accessorizing that way.
Yes, exterior lights. So it is, to me, what is the star of the exterior? Is it the shape of the house? Is it the windows? Is it, do you want to accentuate the trim because you want to see the windows? We maybe could have done that, but
and we still could.
Yes, we totally still could. But when we added our windows on the second story, we put new windows in, we didn't trim them exactly the same as the first floor. And to me, if we would paint the trim a different color, that would accentuate that. Yeah. And so I'd rather just kind of hide that, just like when we're dressing our bodies. If there's an area that you want to hide, you just kind of go monochromatic, or black is always great because that's what it does. It's slimming, makes everything match. You don't notice the oddball things.
We didn't want to slim our house down because it's already small.
Yes, well, and I didn't want to accentuate things that aren't perfect. Yeah. And our house isn't perfect, and that's okay. And so that's what exterior design is about as well, is just working with what you have and making it look as good as possible. So because our window trim isn't perfect, I didn't want to accentuate that. I love the shape of our house. I love the small, quaint, so it's all white, it's all good. And then when we're done, what you're going to notice is the deck and the pergola and the window boxes and
you'll see the white, but what you'll just see is like that it's a nice white.
And it's a background.
You won't even notice it. It's like background dancers in the best way, like they're there, but they're not the focus.
Exactly. So that's kind of how you have to think about your exterior design. Not everything can be the star. Is it, are you doing some cool stone feature on the front, or are you putting some big columns? Do you have a lot of cool windows, and that sort of thing? But you can't accentuate everything, or nothing becomes the star. You don't want everything fighting against itself. It's what is really key. Put the focus on that, and then you can kind of let everything else go a little bit. Not saying like do whatever you want, but there's a lot of give and take there then, that this doesn't have to be so perfect because everybody's looking at this over here.
I think that's a perfect lead into like your decision-making process, because something I found about Brittany that it is very rare, it seems to me, that most people have her ability to research, decision make. Like, she's very logical, she's very clear-headed, and she doesn't mind putting in all the front work so that when you do the actual work, it's not that much work because it's all calculated. I mean,
right.
She is very
I'm going to show you how to make these decisions.
Yeah, sorry. So
easy.
What is I already made that more complicated. But.
Well, yes, I'm an extremely efficient, logical person. And so
exterior lights.
Yeah. Okay. Say we're going to start with exterior lights, because that is something I need to select. I want to make them kind of cool for our house because our house is so simple. The light is the star, the light is going to be one of the features. So when you go to look for lighting, you'll notice there are thousands of options, and it's really hard to look through them all, especially if you're just like, oh, I want an exterior light. Okay, well, there's way more factors involved. So what I would do is start with all those lights, we like to compare it to like a Guess Who game, and then go through all of your criteria and just start knocking them down. This one doesn't work. Like, use the filter on those shopping apps like crazy. So you know
the things you don't like. Get rid of those.
Exactly. So you know what you don't want. So like for me, I know that I want a black fixture. So I already narrowed it down extensively because I want black. Although I did find one the other day that had a little bit of gold on it too. I am open to that as well. But you got to know, like, do you know if it's, is it long and linear? Is it triangle? Is it round? Kind of start to imagine that in your head already. Or if you don't know, that's okay.
And again, start with what you don't like. Because it's easy to say, don't like. And
exactly.
Then you just keep
what you don't like is just as important.
Narrow it down until...
Exactly. Or is it going to mount to the wall, which is a sconce? Or is it going to mount from the ceiling? Hang over your entry, or is it like on the wall next to it, or is it an arm that hangs down over your door or your windows? Those are all things that help narrow down a whole bunch of things. Next, I don't like to use clear glass because things get dirty. So I like a textured glass or a rain glass or bubble glass or any of those things. So that already narrows down clear glass for me. If you like clear glass, you want to see, maybe you're doing a cool Edison bulb and you want to see it, then you go clear and you take out all the rest. Easy.
Still narrows down.
Next thing is I like an open bottom so that things don't collect in the glass. I don't want to have to clean. Again, I'm efficient. I'm functional. I don't want to have to clean this. I don't want to even look at it except for to say, God, I love that light. Exactly. So those are all things to knock out. Is it easy to install? Will it work in your spot? Have you measured your space to know what size would be appropriate? Even if you have a wide open space.
Huge thing.
Right. Even if you have a wide open space, you still need to start thinking, is this an 8-inch light? Is this a tiny, slim light? Is this a big, huge chandelier light? What do you have room for? What scale is appropriate?
And for the average, I'm the average person usually. Yeah. I sold windows for 10 years, so I understand. People come in and say, what's a standard window size? Same with a light. What's a standard light size? There's probably not a standard light size. They're all over. You can't just walk in and say, give me your standard light anymore. It's not the 1950s.
Or people will say to me, what light should I put on my exterior? Okay, well, there's not just one light that works. There's a million lights, and they could all work. And that's part of the thing, too, is understanding they can all look good.
Yeah. So you can either go super basic because you don't care, or...
There is no perfect thing that is the answer every time. Mm-hmm. People will ask me that, well, what light should I hang over my island? I don't know. There's a million lights you can hang.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you want?
There are so many questions that help you narrow down your choices well before just the style. And then that also helps. Like, are you modern? Are you traditional? Are you a log cabin? Are you, Cape Cod beach house? Like, those things
all do
factor into your style and can help.
How much price do you want to spend? I mean, that right there, start with your budget.
Is it available right now? Is it in stock? Do you have to order it? Do you want to pick it up in a store, or do you want to order it online? Those are all things that narrow down the choices. And then when you get down to it, when you've gone through all those options, just pick one. You're down to
once you narrow down to a handful or 3.
You're down to 3, 5. Maybe there's one that you absolutely love. Just go for it.
One of my favorite things that I hear Brittany say to clients that I've heard her say before is she will not, like when she's working one-on-one, she's not going to give an option that she thinks is bad. So the idea of getting rid of all the things you don't like, you're left with things that clearly fit all your other criteria. So the point is, you don't have to worry and spend time agonizing over this final decision. The final decision should be easy, because if you can't pick, you can't decide, then ask your significant other or someone else.
Any of them are fine.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Like, if you
because
are
they already check all your boxes.
Yes. Like, any of those lights would be impactful for exactly what you want, and that's all that matters. It does not have to be the perfect for the next 20 years light, Like, especially lights. You can change that in 5 to 10 years if you want. That's really not that big of a deal.
You can't change.
You're not going to change your layout drastically. You're not going to, but these things, when we're coming to accessorizing and finishing the house, find the best options that you can and then just go with it. Like, that's it. That's done. No, don't think about it again. Move on. It works. Like, once you have narrowed it down to everything that could work and now you just make this decision, you just get to decide, like, what do you like the best? Because yes, that is exactly what I do with my clients in real life. We narrow it down to our top 3. And then they'll sit there and think about it forever and like, well, which one would you pick? And it's like, well, I would pick any of these. They all work. This is the fun part now. This is the part where you just get to say, I like that one the best. Okay, that's the one. We're doing it. Easy.
It's where you have to be a little selfish. So I think people can struggle. There are a lot of selfish people in the world, but it's also, there are many unselfish people. And it's hard to actually say, this is what I want. I want this. It's okay that you want something. So remember, like, it's not about everyone else. This is about you.
Or if you are like, I love this kind of light and that's what I want. Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah.
This is your house, people. That's what we're trying to tell you. In any type of house, new, remodeled, you can make it what you want. It can fit your lifestyle. It can fit your style. You can feel at home in it. It can be amazing. Any home can be a dream home. You just got to learn this process, and that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to help you with, is the process of deciding what you want, you know, in a house.
You can apply
that's
that to
it.
the rest of your life.
Exactly. Apply this process to everything. Decision making is people's hardest part, and
and
that is what I help people
at decision making and editing. That's a very hard thing, and Brittany's very good at it.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of blabbed on about this one. I guess we went on, and this is our house. We're just mid-project, so we're not exactly as focused as usual on business because we're so focused on getting our work done here, and we're excited about it.
We are. If you want more information, Brittany did have a great LinkedIn post from a previous blog post she did last October, so you can either read the full blog post from October on our webpage, b-design.us, or you can find Brittany on LinkedIn, and she just talked about kind of dressing your house, finding your style. So that goes perfectly in with today's episode. Feel free to read that. It's just good, more information if you want to backfill this episode with more stuff.
And again, our podcast is here to help just every person who's working on a remodel, a new house, new construction.
Or even just considering it down the road.
Considering it, or just thinking about how you want to make your current house exactly yours. That's what we're here for. We're answering questions. We're helping you walk through this process the way we do it. But then we have the course. So that is available for anyone who is like, I need some serious help. I want all the answers. It's organized. It's efficient. It walks you through from start to finish how to get through this process of building or remodeling a home and making it exactly what you want. So that's what we're here for you guys. We love doing it, but we just know we could help so many more people, and so that's why we're putting this out there.
We're trying to demystify the construction process. The entire thing. We want it to be easy and simple.
Yes, exactly. So we're here for you whenever you need us.